Here we go. So the purpose of this meeting is to build a collective vision and an action plan around opportunities for tourism, hospitality, boutique retail, restaurants, and completing the Tuxedo Farms development and welcoming new residents. So Tuxedo is poised and eager for growth. This day is intended to give voice and a place at the table to engage residents, especially important in restarting our economy. We want to highlight our unique environment, which is 40 miles north of New York City, in an essential watershed, a refuge for wildlife, and a premium destination for outdoor recreation. Hey, what's not to love about Tuxedo? We hope that our elected officials today and our colleagues in the Orange County Development Office recognize the amazing potential of Tuxedo and leave here as ambassadors that promote all this amazing potential. But first, let me introduce our distinguished elected officials. And this is your cue, guys, to turn your cameras on and your microphones. I'm talking about our elected officials now. We are honored to have you join us. But first, I'd like to welcome Jen Metzger, our state senator from the 42nd Senate District. Hi, Jen. Will you please take a moment and greet our group, please?
Sure. First of all, I want to thank you, Supervisor and the board, and the whole Economic Development Committee for this work and for taking just a real proactive approach to planning for Tuxedo's future. There's so much potential in Tuxedo, that so much opportunity to be realized, and I look forward to hearing what you've been working on these past months and how I can support the effort.
Jen, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulty. Can you hear me now?
I can. Now I can.
Thank you. I apologize. I missed your beautiful welcome. I have it on record, though. Thank you. I'd like to welcome Carl Brabenek, our assembly person. Carl, could you say hello to our audience, please? Thank you.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and we're going to have a great Father's Day weekend coming up. But I want to definitely congratulate the supervisor and the council members on putting this together. I know I'm a former supervisor myself. The first things we did in the town of Deer Park was to form an economic development committee. And we worked with Orange County and our state officials, and we were able to bring a lot of good economic development to the town of Deer Park. So it's a very good thing where you could have suggestions to change your zoning if the zoning doesn't really comply with what you want to bring into the town, or also to promote any kind of economic development, bring in some money to encourage those efforts. So this is a really good thing. I look forward to seeing what you've put together. And again, just like the senator said, anything that I can do to help and my office can do to help, we're here.
Newhouse, Steve, please welcome our crowd. Hi, Steve. Okay, I think we're having a little trouble getting Steve Newhouse. How about Barry Cheney? Barry, our Orange County legislator. Please
Morning,
welcome
everyone.
Thank you, Barry.
An honor to be here. I think that living, although not in Tuxedo, but neighboring in Warwick, I do have the opportunity, have many times in the past, of being in and around Tuxedo, and certainly it's very unique. And although there are a lot of similarities with the neighboring municipalities, I think that the county has a great opportunity to support your efforts. And I'm here as a mechanism to help make sure that support occurs and you're engaged closely with the various entities within the county that can help bring about your vision.
Thank you so much, Barry. So we're just about ready to begin. Michelle and I are wrestling with some computer issues here, but I'm going to turn the mic over to Deputy Supervisor Lindsay. And here she is.
Good morning, everyone. So great to have so many people joining us today. Thank you, Ken and the town board, for your assistance in coordinating this event. Today, we will focus on community, economic, tourism development. Our plan follows the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Council strategy of live, work, play, as well as New York's goals for a sustainable future. The presentation you are about to see is a testament to our residents' commitment to Tuxedo's future. Over 50 community members brainstormed about a plan for growth that would enhance the lifestyle of our current residents and attract visitors and new residents. With the guidance of Bill Fioravanti, Orange County Director of Economic Development, we analyzed our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We realized how much Tuxedo has to offer and what businesses and jobs we want to attract. We're excited about the possibilities and look forward to working with our partners from the county and state to make our vision a reality. Of course, we know that the current financial conditions are compromised by COVID-19, but we are in this for the long haul. So this year will be a planning year, and we will ask our elected officials to help us secure financial support when economic conditions improve. I would like to turn the mic over to Bill Fioravanti, who will then introduce Amanda Dana, Director of Tourism and Film. Both have been so helpful in working with our committees to get us to this point. Bill?
Hi there. Can you hear me? It's Amanda Dana.
Yes, Amanda, please go ahead.
Hi guys. How are you? I know Bill was on before. I don't know what happened here. We were both on. But he is in transit. I can talk a little bit while Bill's catching up. And Bill, if you can hear me, you can chime in at any moment. But thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing the presentation. A lot of your planning and your SWOT analysis absolutely ties into tourism in Orange County. And the region, I should say. And very excited to see this. You guys have really been working a lot on this. Michelle, I mean, you're tenacious. I love your spirit. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. I wanted to get a feel for where you are after your SWOT analysis and what kind of things we can take from that to move forward in your planning. The refreshing and wonderful thing about this right now is that there is such a consistency now with your plan, with your comprehensive plan and where you're going, which is most of the battle sometimes in municipalities. So that is refreshing to see. So I guess, Bill, are you on yet? Okay, so it's okay. I know he was on, but I can take it from here. So I would like to just talk a little bit about tying tourism into this. And Michelle, excuse me, do you have a presentation to show, or is it just talking about some of the connections here? I can't hear you. I think you're muted, Michelle.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Amanda. We have a presentation that will be following in a few minutes that has been compiled from input from all our subcommittees. So that will be starting shortly.
Okay, perfect.
We'll see if Bill can get on, and then we'll circle back and see if Steve Newhouse is on.
Okay. I'm just sending them out both a quick message.
Okay.
Okay. So my suggestion is to start with your presentation, and then we'll circle back with both. So I just sent them out a message. I know they were on, but let's start with the presentation perhaps, and then we'll go back.
Okay, that sounds like a great plan. Thank you so much, Amanda. And again, thank you so much for your support and for Bill's support and Steve's. I know we'll hear from them later when they reconnect. So now is the time for our presentation. And as I said, I want to thank all the Economic Development Committee members for your input to this presentation. Deirdre Murphy and Jim Pandice compiled input from all the subcommittees and created one presentation based on the slideshow that was originally conceived by Vince Capozzi. Deirdre's presentation will be followed by a moderated panel discussion with our elected officials. So with that, I'll hand the mic over to Deirdre.
I'm not sure if her microphone is on. I can't hear her. Hold on one second. Not sure if Deirdre's microphone is turned on.
Don't see her in the participants list, Ken.
Okay, she might have got dropped off the participants list. Oh, the joy of WebEx. Everybody just please hold on. I promise we'll get it straightened out in 30 seconds. Thank you. All right, I'm going to get my guitar. I'm going to stop playing in 10 seconds. Just kidding. Hold on.
Hi, Ken.
Yes.
I just heard from Steve Newhouse. He should be on in about 15, 20 minutes.
Great. Thank you.
You got it.
Hi, everyone. This is Deirdre.
I don't see the presentation on the screen. No. Sounds like we're almost ready. Thank you, guys. Okay, we're seeing the slides coming up now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Deirdre. I'm going to take you through the presentation that has been prepared by the Economic Development Committee. I'm going to spend a little time talking about Tuxedo and then talking about the vision that we see of Tuxedo going forward. Just a little bit of an overview. We consider Tuxedo to be the gateway to Orange County. And if you see where we're located, it's basically at the neck of Orange County, and it's adjacent to many other places, which is Bergen, Passaic, and Rockland.
So we do get quite a lot of visitors from that area, but essentially it is the area, Tuxedo is the center point in which you can then go to visit many other opportunities and places in Orange County. One of the things that's a big benefit of Tuxedo is that it is located right on the 17 corridor, and we have bus and train, both that have depots right in the middle of downtown. So not only can you get there from New York very easily by bus or train, but it's very accessible by all the major highways, Route 17, the Thruway, and it offers parking right in downtown. So downtown is a central point in which people can gather and find parking. Some of the key things about Tuxedo, different than many other places, parkland, made up of cars, state park. Okay. It has many distinct residential communities. Last count was over 9, and it is separated with through the parks. It's the coastal corridor of the Ramapo River Valley that basically has the Thruway 17 and also the railroad and bus. So it's ideal for commuting into New York. And we believe it's a tremendous opportunity for growth, not only in residential, but in business. We have a lot of acreage that we're going to show you later that is available for development. So unique to Tuxedo, at least we think so, is the history. And Tuxedo is full of history. It was originally settled by the Native Americans, the Lenape tribe. They settled in the valley and actually still live in the Ramapo Valley. In the colonial days, it was really known for its iron ore, and many of the iron places are able to be seen through Sterling Forest still. One of the key things that is always of interest is that part of the chain that was used to put across the Hudson to stop the English during the Revolutionary War was actually forged in Tuxedo. Going into the 1800s, it became the origin of Tuxedo Park was started by the Lorillard family, and that was really originally set up for hunting and fishing. However, it really very soon after became the playground of the very wealthy families of Manhattan who would come here for balls and parties, etc., aka the name Tuxedo, which basically came from the suits that people used to wear. It's also very well known for its innovation. Loomis Labs was located in Tuxedo, which was really responsible for a lot of the radar technology that helped us win the Second World War. All of this are stories that are told very well by the Tuxedo Historical Society, which is a very active program and community asset that is always active in the stories of Tuxedo. Some of the other key things, because 75% of Tuxedo is made up of state parks, we have to mention that it involves Sterling Forest, Harriman State Park, and also we have the Appalachian Trail, which actually goes through the Tuxedo Hudson Valley Trail corridor. This corridor is very actively worked on by our neighbors as well, which is Suffern and Tuxedo, and we're looking forward to future programs with that. In terms of tourism, there's really nothing you can't do in Tuxedo if you're an outdoorsman. There's hiking, there's biking, there's boating, fishing. It is one of the key centers for birding, and it's on the migratory tour of various bird species. Hunting, seasonal hunting, kayaking, and we do have many cross-country skiing trails. So we have seen over the years a tremendous uptick in people understanding the beauty of Tuxedo. We do have a lot of visitors that come here and who take advantage of our parklands. One of the other big tourist areas is the Renaissance Fair, and they basically have about 8 weekends a year in which they have over 160,000 visitors that come. So that's about 20,000 visitors a weekend that come to Tuxedo to join in the festivities of the Renaissance Festival. Recently, we've welcomed the world headquarters of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and this is a campus that is in different areas, also Warwick, but what's remarkable about this is we expect to have thousands of visitors who are coming to the headquarters, to the campus there. So one of the things that the committees definitely were able to uncover was the undiscovered tuxedo. We have many attributes that we believe are tremendous interest to our tourist industry, one of which is Powerhouse Park. Powerhouse Park is located right by downtown, right by the parking lot, which features over 100 parking spaces. It's recently been electrified, and it's an ideal spot for live entertainment, festivals, many of the things that the committee believes it would be a very great asset for the town of Tuxedo. Other issues are the colonial and historical sites. Many of the very talented people of these committees have highlighted things that, frankly, I didn't even know, and have recommended we do a map, many possibly walking tours of some of the very interesting historic spots within the Tuxedo area. We have many recreational fields for activities for baseball, et cetera. And frankly, we have a lot of real estate opportunities along the Route 17 corridor that are underutilized and have a lot of potential for future development. So what did the committee feel about some of the key things that we can do going forward? Their belief is that we do have the farmers market just downtown. Again, it's right near the train station, the bus station, and parking. Wanted to capitalize on some of these of the farmers market where we do get a lot of tourists. We have a lot of people coming in asking about where they can eat, where they can hike, and this is an opportunity for us to introduce many of the aspects of Tuxedo. We also have neighbors in Suffern and Sloatsburg who are very interested in developing the trailhead corridor along the Hudson Valley, and we intend to work on them going forward. And we also are looking into how can we better utilize the Powerhouse Park and really expand some of the programs that the Tuxedo Historical Society has been developing over the past many years. So many of the clubs that we have is Explore Harriman, the Appalachian Mountain Club, and the Sterling Forest, which does feature the visitor center. So all in all, given an overview of Tuxedo, we believe that we are poised for economic development, community development, and to basically explore how we can better work with the tourism that we already have in Tuxedo and make it better for the people who are visiting here. So we are looking at how to live in Tuxedo, how to work in Tuxedo, and where we can all play in Tuxedo. Most importantly, play. What we think is one of the key issues that makes Tuxedo unique and why it's really very important for the residents of today and tomorrow is our proximity to New York. It's only within an hour. It's very easily commutable into the city and taking the benefits of New York City. But also you have the benefits of country living because of the proximity to all of our parks. If we take a look at what are currently defined as new trends in what people are looking for in terms of places where they want to live, they do want to live in places where they can have experiences in not only parks and recreation, but also near bars, restaurants, nightclubs, gyms. So it's all about the experience. It's all about the environment. The other thing that Tuxedo offers is school settings. And recently we've added a preschool program at no charge to residents. And this is to attract young families and to be friendly to young families that move into the area. So with that said, what does Tuxedo look at in terms of future? And so one of the things that are most important is what's going on in Orange County. And Orange County has seen a big growth in certain industries, and they have really taken advantage of their own environment with local farms. So farm-to-table restaurants, craft beer, spirits, wineries, and the Hudson Valley has really become a very interesting and wonderful place to visit. We want people to visit Tuxedo and have similar experiences. Some of the areas that people go to visit is in Warwick. Warwick has seen a big boost in their tourist economy, but again, it's all about what is in the Hudson Valley. And part of the issue is we want people to come to Tuxedo and stay in Tuxedo. And our vision is to emulate a lot of the successes that have been happening within the Hudson Valley and within Orange County for us to be able to incorporate into our community. So with that said, part of the comprehensive plan is to take a look at the town and take a look at exactly what are the unique opportunities for development. And the town board is now undergoing a.
Now, how do I get back to who's talking? Oh, I see.
They're looking at the opportunities in terms of how we can move forward. What exactly are our zoning issues and how can we make them developed for future development? So if you take a look at this map, which we're happy to give to anyone who's of interest, in terms of what are we able to do in Tuxedo, which is really quite unique for being so close to New York, we have 140 acres dedicated to tourism, 100 plus acres, which is dedicated to business, which includes light office, general business, and a lot of it is for development within the hamlet and unifying a lot of the downtown. And residential, we have 640 acres dedicated to the development of residential properties. So in terms of downtown, what do we see? And in terms of commerce, right now we have several businesses within the recent years have just opened in Tuxedo with tremendous success. Dottie Audrey's, can't even get in there. I go there quite often to get my bread, which is baked on site and has wonderful food. Recently opened is Steve's Pizza right in downtown. And we've also had a revitalization on improving a lot of the buildings that are in downtown with architectural details that make them interesting and within the core design of Tuxedo. So going forward, we can see how we can move this forward to have an activated downtown place for social gathering, for visitors to come and using all of our transportations and its central location and developing it for more retail opportunities in eateries, entertainment, and retail. The other area that we believe is of exciting development or area of development is attracting business for the new normal. Clearly, things have changed. Clearly, things will change. The new normal is going to have more people working out of their homes, looking for central locations where they can use as a resource that will be also used for innovation, education, central locations for meeting people. But again, the new normal is very different than the old normal. So we think that we have a tremendous opportunity to be able to accommodate this type of new business going forward. And this here is a proposed vision of downtown. And if you look at this, that basically what it is showing you is the new concept, which is more of a campus concept to business development, where more businesses are able to intermingle and use many of the resources available for business activities, but allows them to have an entrepreneurial spirit. The other exciting development we're looking forward to is seeing the revised plans of the Tuxedo Farms project. This has been an ongoing project that we're looking forward to moving forward on. The plan, we're hoping, will be of interest for new metropolitan buyers, young families, and retirees or people who are simply downsizing. The first proposal is looking for upwards of 1,200 homes, and it will interconnect many of the Tuxedo neighborhoods that we discussed before. We're looking for a walkable community. And basically, the infrastructure is in place. We're sort of ready to go. It has a new water treatment plant, which is already established. So, in conclusion, what are we looking for? We're looking for a vibrant downtown to accommodate the tourism that we believe is not only here, but growing. We're looking for new residential opportunities, and we're looking for formal in the development of and looking for new development in that. The program would involve basically implementing the comprehensive plan, creating a marketing and sales program to attract builders, and to achieve and look for grants to fill our vision of the new Tuxedo. So with that said, I just want to point out one little fact, and that is that we do know that the Sterling Forest Visitor Center entertains more than 300,000 people, or did last year. And this is a growing population. So if you take a look over the past 10 years, this has grown by 75%. We believe that with increased activity in our downtown, in retail, in eateries and hotels, and keeping those people who do come to Tuxedo, keeping them here will help increase the tax base for Orange County. So with that said, I want to say thank you. And this has been a pleasure to talk to you today about all of our ideas. And we look forward to working with everyone going forward.
Ken, this is Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Trying to find Bill Faravanti. Bill Faravanti, can you talk now? Just dial back in. Bill Faravanti, are you available?
Okay, if you can give me a heads up when you get them, Dave. I just need to thank Deirdre for a fantastic presentation. Great job to the committees for putting that together. We're going to move to our panelists. So if we can get our elected officials on and unmuted, we're going to have 3 questions to promote a dialogue. Let me get this started with our first talking point. So our order in this question will start with Jen, go to Carl, Steve, and Barry. So Jen, our goal is to be integrated into the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Zone strategy of live, work, and play. And in Tuxedo, that's what we're all about. So Jen, how do you see Tuxedo fitting into plans at your government level?
Well, I think, Tuxedo is in a really, first of all, can you all hear me okay? I just want to make sure.
Yes, Jen, thank you.
You are, as I said at the outset, there are so many advantages to Tuxedo. And I like that. I like how you've characterized it as a gateway, because it really is a gateway into the region. And I think that, from my perspective, and, I think that this is also a priority of all of the counties in the Mid-Hudson region. We have so much to offer in terms of the natural assets of the region, the recreational assets of the region, and Tuxedo is kind of definitional in that way. As you point out, 75% of the community is parkland. You've seen an enormous increase at Sterling Forest. By the way, I've had wonderful hikes there, as well as and some incredible meals at Dottie Audrey's. I can see why it's always so busy. And I think that, we've seen, with all that's going on right now with this pandemic, people are actually, craving being out in the outdoors, looking for healthy recreational options. We've seen many people leaving the city, and actually the real estate markets in the Mid-Hudson region have just really taken off as people are looking to move here. So I think that you're doing this planning at the perfect time. I think that, the interconnectivity between Tuxedo and other parts of Orange County, the development of the Heritage Trail is extremely important. And, I've recommended county for a grant to help expand parking to support that trail, but the county's doing fabulous work. I think that, the work of Amanda Dana and the whole team in really taking a countywide approach to development, and taking advantage of those integration opportunities are really important. But the work that you're doing is the timing is perfect. It is true that right now the fiscal environment is pretty terrible, and there hasn't actually been any state grants. Grant opportunity. The CFA process hasn't been announced. That's all kind of up in the air right now. But it is the perfect time to be doing this careful planning that you're doing. And, I am a huge enthusiast when it comes to capitalizing on our recreational and natural assets for our economy. I've done a lot of work on that in Ulster County and at the town level before coming into the state Senate. I've seen what it can do for an economy. It transformed the county that I live in. Those investments, that trail interconnectivity, and supporting the connections between natural assets and the downtown, absolutely critical. I am curious if you have, when I was last in Tuxedo, and we had, I guess it was about a year ago or so, I had mentioned, we had talked about wayfinding signage and projects like that can really kind of connect it all together, and just wondering if you were looking at that, at building on what you have in that department, or, and there have been grants available for that kind of thing in the past, state level. But anyway, I think that I'm very excited about this plan, and I just want to commend all 50 community participants in that process. It's right on the mark in terms of, I think, what will attract people to Tuxedo, and again, as a gateway to Orange County and the Mid-Hudson region more generally.
Thank you, Jen. Carl, what are your thoughts on this live, work, and play?
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. I think, as Jen said, you've hit everything right on the head as far as the plan here. This is something, like I was saying before, it's very, very similar to what we did in the town of Deer Park. And I can see a lot of similarities between Deer Park and Tuxedo, where, you want to live, work, and play. We have open spaces and trails and things for outdoor activities. And, we wanted to expand our tourism in the town. And I think Tuxedo is a perfect place. You're in a perfect location. I think marketing, you had that presentation. Marketing is extremely important to get this moving. We did also in our economic development committee, when we started it 10 years ago or so, we did a whole review of our zoning, and we made sure that there weren't cumbersome regulations in the zoning that prevent businesses from locating into the area. And that was very important because we were so close to Pennsylvania and the tax differences, kind of thing. But you have the train coming right to the train stop right in Tuxedo. You have a major corridor, Route 17 corridor there, and you're so close to Woodbury Commons where you do get a lot of activity. One of the things that has been lobbied for in the past is the exit off of the thruway that would come right onto 17 there. That could be a possibility down the line. But I think also infrastructure improvements are extremely important. That's what Senator and I can come in to help out with that because probably the past 6 years that I've been in the assembly, we constantly lobby Department of Transportation to make improvements on 17 in through Tuxedo and all the way down to Sloatsburg. So I think that's extremely important. Without good infrastructure, it becomes a hindrance to economic development. So that's going to be a priority that we need to lobby for. Also, expanding that parking area we spoke about probably a few months ago.
Did we lose Carl's audio? I'm not sure.
We did. He's got bandwidth issues on his side.
Apparently you have bandwidth issues, Carl. I don't see his microphone. It just went off, Carl, just in the last 50. Now you're back up.
I'm back. Okay. Yeah, it might have been an internet. Where did I leave off?
Seconds. Only 15 seconds ago. You're talking about the parking that we were talking about just when you and I met in January, I believe.
Yes. We tried to get a SAM grant for the parking. Unfortunately, that wasn't eligible because there are some other agencies that we have to work with as far as that parking lot. But I think an expansion of that would be extremely good. Going back to the marketing, Greenwood Lake, your neighbor has been doing a wonderful job in putting a marketing plan together to bring people into Greenwood Lake. And we already know that a lot of people do come to Tuxedo. So expanding upon that and improving on that and maybe marketing to a lot of the people in the city, that would be a good thing because they can come right up on the train and they're right there, So I think that would bring a lot of economic activity there. And then also, so we'll work with you on that and everything else that you need on the state level. But definitely, definitely utilize the county economic development officials, Bill and Amanda, they do a wonderful job, and they're there to help. They're there to locate any kind of grant opportunities or things like that, and we'll also help you out on that too, and trying to identify certain things that we can go after.
Well, Bill wanted me to let everybody know that he's been trying desperately to get on this webinar and has had technical difficulties. So thank you. I know he's eager to continue to work with us. I'm not sure if we ever got Steve Newhouse on the line, but I know we have Barry Cheney, our Orange County legislator. Barry, if you want to add to this talking point about this live, work, play in Orange County, please go ahead.
Sure. Thank you very much. One doesn't have to speculate on the potential. All one has to do is go to the railroad station on a weekend day or a holiday, and even weekdays during the summer, to see people embarking from the train coming up from the city with their backpacks, ready to go on a hike. I think one of the keys that needs to be considered going forward, and it's been mentioned, is the focus on overnight visitors and how much more that brings to the community. The county has a lot of resources. It's great to see you've already begun to tap those resources with Amanda and Bill. The county does have an industrial development agency that can be supportive of projects going forward, and the planning department is an excellent resource for support in creating grant packages and applications. I think that you also want to, as Carl mentioned briefly, kind of work with your neighbors and come up with ways in which you can support each other in your economic and from the history standpoint, and I tend to be a bit of a history buff, the 250th anniversary of the Revolution is coming up, and I think it's the semi-sesquicentennial. The county has a committee chaired by the county historian to look into that. I'm hopeful that we will be able to pull together some sort of a heritage trail for the Revolution that would, certainly include the very important feature of the forges that were used to create the chain that went across the Hudson. So I think that's a great opportunity for Tuxedo to become involved in that as well. And I guess the last thing I'll mention is I think right now we're all witnessing at least a desire for out-migration from the city. The coronavirus has, I think, given people the opportunity or the desire to maybe not live in the city any longer. And with working from home being more available, more people that can take advantage of that will probably look to move away from the city. And so I think anything that can be put into place to support that would be a benefit to Tuxedo. So I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Barry. I'm not sure.
Ken?
Yes.
The county executive's online.
Steve, so glad you could join us. Can you hear me, Steve? Dave McMillan, I don't know if you can get Steve Newhouse turned up.
Is he dialing in?
Not sure.
I'm going to unmute some callers that just recently joined. We'll see if he can talk.
So Steve Newhouse, if you could speak into your telephone, we're trying to identify which one you are.
Hello.
I think we have Steve. Is that you, Steve, right now?
This is actually Bill Fioravanti. Look at this.
Bill Fioravanti.
Oh, wow.
Unreal. So I'll kill some time for Steve Newhouse. Unbelievable. I'm so sorry, and I'm so embarrassed that I couldn't get on earlier. And as soon as Steve is available, I'll shut up. But I know it was a great presentation. I'm so proud. That's all I want to say. I'm so proud of the work that this committee has done. We've worked for several months. We're in a great position now. Am I not being heard?
You're being heard, but we have some cross traffic with other callers. I think Dave McMillan's trying to isolate that.
If you guys have any questions, you come back to me. Now you know you can hear me.
Now that we know you, which caller you are, thank you very much. So, Steve, as soon as we can identify you, we're going to grab you and get you in. But I'm going to switch to our next question, and I'll let you know, guys.
Steve is in the call. He's in the call.
We need to have people mute their phones, please. I hear a lot of background chatter. Please mute your phone.
I'm unmuted now.
Oh, Steve Newhouse, thank you so much. I recognize that voice. Please go ahead, Steve.
I was on the phone, but once I got admitted, I jumped onto the thing. But I heard the conversation beforehand, Ken.
So we were building off this live, work, and play strategy for the Mid-Hudson Regional Economic Zone. So please share your thoughts about that.
Yeah. So I'll be real quick. I'll jump on a little bit what Barry said. But here, what we've seen throughout New York State right now, everything has been canceled. The State Fair, Hudson Valley Festivals, Bethel Woods, Renaissance Fair by you guys. So what does that mean? I've been approached by every promoter in the Hudson Valley. What do I think? I said, I'm open for business. You want to move the 5 festivals that were in Dutchess County over to Orange County? Identify a location, whether that's Tuxedo, Warwick, Goshen. And as long as you do, and we know the one model that keeps getting approved, it's the drive-in model. So you come in, Ken, with your wife and kids. You got an empty spot in front of you so you can have a picnic table. You got to go hit the head. You put a mask on. Your wife wants to go pick up wine from the local wineries that have it. So we are planning, and I've told my staff to say yes to every festival. They obviously have to come up with a safety plan. So that's one thing. What Barry said about the New York City, we're feeling it. we're getting a ton of requests for people to buy houses, not even looking at the houses. They're just saying, show me a screenshot, put it down. We want 30-day closing. So we're making special appointments. And they'll be a lot easier now next week once we start opening more operations with the county so we could do closings. So we are seeing people not only wanting to visit here, but wanting to just get out of the city and move here. That's the other thing. I think after we get through this Tuesday and restaurants can actually get back on their feet again, we're going to see, now that the dust has settled, who survived. And what does that mean? Let's say, Ken, you and I we own 5. There's 5 different businesses like ours. 3 of them are gone. There's 2 left. What Bill Fioravanti and Amanda and I are doing, how do I help you, Ken, identify those customers that your former competitors have, and how can I help you seize on them to now be your customers? Because I want to at least have you at least sustain yourself, if not be able to grow. So we've been working very diligently with all our partners. You know, we help people originally get loans. We help people get the unemployment just so they can at least stabilize some of the bleeding until we get through this. But I see major opportunity. And no matter how bad things are, you know, we always have to look at what opportunities are available. And I got to tell you guys, when everybody else is saying no, and I might be a little reckless and a little forward leaning on this, I'm saying yes. I'm doing the air show. I'm going to bring 10,000 people a day. I got a 250 acre parcel of property that I could separate people out on. Now, at the end of the day, if we deem that it's not safe enough and we see an uptick like we're seeing around the world and in some states, that might change our plan. But I think going forward, what we need to all be cognizant of, all these things are learning experiences. Same thing when I do military operations, when we get done, we do a hot wash. What worked, what didn't work. I think if we got into a bad fall, because we got to be cognizant of that. Everybody's telling us that you might see a major resurgence of this in the fall. If that happens, I think we need to we have the senator on the line, we have Carl Bramanick, we have Barry Cheney, myself. I think we need to look at what we shouldn't have closed. I think we should have never have closed retail and maybe offices. You know, lawyers were working out of their houses and so were insurance salesmen, but could they function close like the supermarkets did, where you had limited people coming in? We need to be prepared for that, because now the people that are getting through the next couple months, all right, I survived it. It was bad. But now it's in the fall, we get clobbered and they're like, we need to close everything down again. We need to make sure that we advocate for individual businesses that we think can still function safely and not risk putting more people permanently out of business. So those are some of the things that we're discussing now. I'll shut up. I'll continue to listen to the conversation and take questions.
Well, thank you, Steve. Well, I just want to say you do an excellent job with your 3:15 calls every day.
Thank you.
Most of them. And so the information dissemination is critical to making decisions. And, you know, we've been opening up our restaurants as per executive order. So thank you. Let me move to my next question. And let me give you the order. So I'm going to start this next one with Carl. Investments at this level, Carl, and our guests are dependent on strong partnerships and a collective vision. What stakeholders do you see as essential to our success? And I'll ask you to try to do this in a minute and a half or more around there. Carl, what do you have advice for partnerships and linking to stakeholders?
Well, certainly I think that the town should be working again with Orange County, the economic development team. Also, the Orange County Partnership has a lot of resources that you can tap into where they can bring together private and public partnerships. And I think that works very, very well all throughout the state. You don't want, too much government, that I think is a bad thing, but you have to make it, again, easier for businesses to come in. One of the things, I know that the town of Chester did years back, town of Deer Park did, with their planning boards is, if you have a project that's there and it starts to linger more than 3, 4, 5 months and it's a simple project, the person's going to typically pull out, and they're not going to have the money to complete the project because they're spending money on lawyers and engineers and that kind of thing. So I think streamlining the process on the planning board level is extremely, extremely important, especially for the smaller projects. And the bigger projects are going to need some more review. But I think if you could streamline that process enough, that would be good. And the use of, again, the Orange County Partnership Economic Development Department in Orange County, that's going to be critical.
Well, thanks, Carl. That actually checks boxes of strategies that we're working on. Our planning board has been amazing in moving forward local projects. So that's verifying sound advice. I'm going to move to Jen about our stakeholders, Jen, and what partnerships you suggest for us. Do we have Jen on the line? Hopefully we didn't lose Jen.
Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, Jen, please go ahead.
So I was saying that I really feel like the most important stakeholders, I mean, we're here to support you, Carl and I, at the state level in any way we can, but it's your community stakeholders. It's working very closely with your local businesses, and I appreciated the county executive's comments about really working to help sustain and grow the businesses that are able to survive this crisis, and with the community. I think you've been doing a lot of that outreach, but working, you want it to be, you want buy-in from the whole community, and all of those different stakeholders have different perspectives and expertise to lend to it. So in Orange County, at the county level, you have, you just have really spectacular county government agencies that are that can assist you as well on economic development and tourism and marketing and the like. So certainly you're already taking advantage of those great assets, but the community is the most important piece. The community stakeholders are the most important.
Thank you. We obviously agree, and we're trying through these committees to really engage, and I think we're meeting that promise. Actually, through this summit today, we're elevating our committees to connecting directly with you guys. Let me turn the mic over to Steve Newhouse. Any additional ideas about this, Steve? Obviously, we're already partnering with you in Orange County, so please go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, if you looked at us in January, and if you looked at some of our videos, we had the Renaissance Fair. Our tourism book had Legoland. It was supposed to be open in about 2 weeks from now. Now, that has all changed. And if you're a tuxedo business, and I know there's other people listening throughout my friend Jen and Carl's district that are in Orange County, if you are not on our tourism radar, call Amanda Dana or Bill Fioravanti, who are on this on Monday, and say, how can I highlight my business? And it's going to make us recalibrate things. Because if you look at yourself, some people might have been going to Disney World this year. Not a lot of people are going to high density theme parks right now. There's a huge part of the population that is still concerned and gun shy about going out to these things. So it is going back to that local opportunity that Barry mentioned. You can't get a boat slip on Greenwood Lake this year. For the last 10 years, they were begging you to put a boat on there. People are now doing things locally. We talked about staycations, Airbnbs. We cut a deal with Airbnb in the county about a year ago. So now we can we get revenue from it. So I think there's huge opportunities. You guys have a farmer's market, grow it. They are awesome. The farmers are doing better. The local ones that are selling things at our farmers market. I opened the county government center because they had a falling out with the location they had with the one in Goshen. But you have one in Tuxedo. There's ones in Warwick. They are very popular, and they also have spin-off businesses that come into there. They're not just selling celery and honey. They're selling beef. Some of them are selling homemade products. They're selling goat milk. So these are great opportunities. And the people that are trapped in the city for 3 months now, today's our 100th day in Orange County that we had our first positive case. They want to come here. So they're great opportunities. If you're not listed on the county thing, make sure you call us on Monday and get involved.
Thank you, Steve. Barry, any additional ideas on the county level?
Yeah, a few things, maybe more points of emphasis, but relative to your neighbors, involve them and get involved with them. From the standpoint of finding resources and possibly being able to seek grants, to be able to create what I'll call maybe a pathway of tourism that would include Tuxedo and some of your neighbors. Also, from the standpoint of your neighbors having done it before, there's a lot that Tuxedo might be able to learn, and vice versa, from attempts that have been made in the past, successful and both unsuccessful. And I guess the only new idea that I bring into this would be your transportation partners. Any benefit of attraction that exists in Tuxedo is going to increase their ridership. So the two of you together need to work in a way that would benefit both. And that's what I've got.
Thank you, Barry. So this is our last question and talking point. I'll go in this order: Carl, Jen, Barry, and Steve. So lastly, local development pretty much depends on grants and funding to get things moving. Obviously, we know that the COVID-19 has majorly affected budgets, and I think a lot of this is wait and see how it develops. But what opportunities do you see for Tuxedo in this development grants and funding to get things moving? I'm going to start with Carl and then Jen after Carl.
Okay, thank you. So as far as grants, we know that, as you stated, the state is under some financial duress right now. So, and I know even the current grants that have been awarded, they're kind of on a hold pattern right now as far as being awarded. Mm-hmm. So there are some financial troubles, and we're going to have some financial troubles ahead as far as the state is concerned. Doesn't mean we can't still look for opportunities. I know, even in the federal government level, there will be opportunities for these kind of economic development projects, marketing plans, things of that nature. We have a good resource through the federal government that we can tap into to see if there is any monies available out there. But it is going to be tough in the next coming years to find any of that. But we'll keep looking, and they do keep releasing new things day by day. So we'll see what happens. But we'll be there for you to look for it, definitely.
Yes, thank you, Carl. I think, we've talked about opportunities of just people looking the exodus from New York City, and I'm sure entrepreneurs are looking for these opportunities. And as I said in our opening, you guys acting as our ambassadors, directing people to our uniqueness here in Tuxedo will certainly help. Jen, I don't know, you want to add to this idea? And again, it may be about grants, but also about really just being our ambassadors and sharing ideas about what the potential for Tuxedo is with your contacts, I think is what we're also looking for. And make sure you unmute yourself, Jen.
Just forget that. So yeah, I mean, just as Carl said, it is a tough time right now. Generally speaking, in this, when we pass the most recent state budget, we maintained funding in the Environmental Protection Fund for things like trail development and open space protection, farmland protection. That's maybe a little less relevant to you all, but there's, there are funds there. Things are capital is different, is a different category of fund, funding aid to localities, but as Carl said, where the process of approving new projects has slowed down. It just has to by necessity, because we have such a severe fiscal situation right now at all levels of government. But going forward, you should definitely be looking at those. I mean, as you said, you're mostly parkland there. You have a lot of trails, and there are grant programs. There are grants that can be used to connect your downtown with your trail network, and so there are state grant opportunities available to you when we're ready to pursue them. You can always just contact our office. You should also always look into federal and state DOT grants for any kind of improvements to, multimodal transportation, to making your community more walkable, more cyclable, which are the kinds of things that, well, first of all, it's great, of course, for the environment, but it's also what people are looking for in communities. They want to be able to get around safely, walking and driving. So I would look for those types of grants too. Again, everything is kind of on hold right now, or less certain, but those funds certainly will be available going forward. And I encourage you to just stay, that for our offices to just stay in touch and keep the dialogue going, as you move forward in your planning, and we'll assist you in any way we can.
Thank you, Jen. We count on that, and obviously look forward to continuing developing these dialogues. So we're going to move to the Orange County level. We'll go with Barry and then Steve to close it out. Barry.
Okay. Thank you, Ken. The resources that are available through Orange County relative to grant writing and assistance in even recognizing what grants might be available. The county planning department has a staff that is intimately involved in this. Virtually a month doesn't go by when the legislature isn't applying for or accepting multiple grants that more often than not have been worked on by the county planning office staff. Another thing that I'll mention are consultants. There are consultants out there. Usually, if they're working on grants, they tend to be, because they're so experienced, they know how to move through them quickly and are able to do it very cost effectively. And one thing I would urge, having just been through this with the Village of Warwick, is to get a debrief on unsuccessful grant applications, because you never know. The second round, which we benefited from here in the village, the second time we went after something, we got it because we knew better how to package the information and meet the criteria that the state had established.
Interesting you say that, Barry. We just had that experience with the CDBG grant and benefited from that exact strategy.
Yep. And just one more thing is to try and position yourself, especially with the infrastructure, to have your project shovel ready. In other words, you've done the design, you're ready to go, and if there's stimulus money or anything out there that pops up, if you've got a package ready to bid, you're able to demonstrate that you'll get people in the construction industry working on that project in short order. And that's very attractive to type of funding. And I'll just mention another thing is the resource, and that's the IDA. And I'll let some executives talk more on that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry. And Steve, if you can close us out on this question.
Yeah, so real quick, I think somebody's has a hot mic.
Yeah, I'm sure Dave McMillan's working. Please, thank you. I think we got it.
So, look, I'm not hanging my wagon on the grant thing. Jen and Carl and Barry and I have all said, the state's in tough shape, but there's some great opportunities out there. Let's start real quick. Let's talk about open space. I was on the board of directors for the Orange County Land Trust when they first formed here in the county. They are very aggressive with purchasing critical pieces of property And hiking and outdoors is the only thing that has been blowing through the atmosphere since this thing started. It's the only thing that people felt safe. Our parks have been utilized. Your trails right behind the train station in Tuxedo. I hiked that in February with the New Jersey, New York Trail Conference in anticipation of some major work that was scheduled to be done this fall there, this winter, in the summer with AmeriCorps. I don't know if that's going to happen anymore because, I don't know if we're going to get those volunteers and there's going to be a lot of work and opportunities to continue to grow and build open space. But let's capitalize, because I don't like the grant stuff, because if you're looking at the business community, which is most of the audience right now, they have lost a lot of their clients and they have to pay back these loans. So they needed to get these grants and these loans originally to survive. We all get that. But let's talk about going forward, again, seizing on these opportunities. In the last week, I've had major restaurants in New York City named like the top of the line that you go once a year because they're too expensive for us to go to, that want to relocate to Orange County. Why? They're spending $10,000 to $20,000 sometimes every 2 weeks on leases in New York City. They said, you know what? I'm out of here. I want to come to Goshen. They're looking at places in Warwick. They could look at Tuxedo. However you want to grow your town and you have your business community and it's married with your master plan and your comprehensive plan and you couple it with your relationships. Jen and Carl can help with state permitting. Barry and I can help with county permitting. We can have the county health department look and help people through the process. We are seeing major traffic coming here from New York City. They're afraid of a number of things going on down there. And I think it's a great opportunity. We should just advertise. And that's something, and let me tell you, the IDA for Orange County, I'm Mr. Pro Business. We have Amazon. We have all these big companies throughout the county. They pay the IDA a lot of money. They're sitting on over $10 million. I got them with the legislature's support to free up $500,000 to use for grants for small businesses, but they also still have money. They'll do a pilot agreement with Tuxedo. If you haven't had them come individually and meet with your town board and just give a presentation, here, I need 15 minutes of the town board's next schedule. They'll come in, they'll say, these are the things that we have available, and they'll pay for them most of the time. So I would seize on the opportunity. You got great leaders, Barry. Ken, you and I have been through a tough time the last 3 months. You're a new supervisor. You've been on those calls every day at 3:00, trying to figure out, do we have enough body bags? Do we have enough frozen storage space for remains of humans, which we had to do? We're now hopefully through that, and it's now time to help getting back to business. And I think that we got some great opportunities. You got a lot of good leaders on this call that are there to help. And if we have a good project that's coming through Tuxedo, let Barry, let Sue, let Jen, let Carl, let us all know and say, look, I might call you, I might not call you, but they're going to be calling for these applications. Usually they take a couple months in the state or in the county. I need you to help fast track them. And the four of us will do that for you.
Well, that's amazing. And obviously, we are very interested in building private development groups, partnering with our town board. And our planning board has really been doing an amazing job. We're reviewing our zoning, trying to make clear where there are opportunities for boutique retail, restaurants, hospitality, all up and down the Route 17 corridor. So, of course, we're very interested in continuing to work with the Related group at the Tuxedo Farms, which could double the size of our town. And so we have a lot of possibilities. Thank you to our elected officials. We were really trying to make it so the public could weigh in here, but due to the challenges, we don't have a chat feature, which is sabotaged by hackers. And so I did want to make sure that it was open to at least 3 other town board members, Dave McMillan, Maria May, and Jay Reichgott. If you guys have any questions or closing points you want to make to our panel, please go ahead. I'll start with Maria May. Maria, if your microphone is available, please weigh in, and thank you for your efforts on this. There she is. Maria, please go ahead.
Hi. So I want to thank you all for joining us and for all your good advice and knowledge. And I also really especially want to thank all the citizens that participated in this committees. This was tireless work, meeting after meeting after meeting, with the guidance of Michelle Lindsay and Ken. But it, so that is my comment. But I actually have a question for you guys. So, has there been any talk in this area about improving digital infrastructure? As all of us that have been living here and working from home, there are some real issues still in this area of New York, connecting. And I think that that's like a really, if we're looking at the future in terms of, having these home work kind of situations, I think that our infrastructure has to improve. Are there any talk about doing this in New York State?
So I can speak to that. So this is a huge issue in my district and statewide. There are too many people that still don't have access to reliable broadband at speeds that support common uses. And this pandemic has really, shined the light on what an enormous disadvantage it is to not have that access. So I've introduced two bills. One bill basically requires the Public Service Commission to map broadband access speeds and costs across New York State, which is really the first step to it. I mean, it then directs the Public Service Commission to work with internet service providers to close that gap. But we don't have accurate information in New York State on access and on speeds and on costs. And if you don't have that, you can't address the issue. So that's kind of the first step. And then another bill addresses the complete absence of service quality standards and any obligations of providers to meet their commitments. But these are important issues. I'm hoping that we can move the legislation forward in this session because this can't go on. There's a significant amount of federal funding that was announced in January, and there's yet another bipartisan piece of legislation that's been introduced to increase funding still further for broadband access. For us to be able to take advantage of those federal funds, we need to have up the data and a plan to close the gap. So that's what I would say about that.
Thank you. Great question, and thank you, Jen, for your response. Dave McMillan, I know you've been working the buttons behind the scenes in your dream studio. Do you have any questions or comments you want to share about this experience?
Yeah, Ken. Yeah, I'm a little frazzled from the admin work here with this DDoS happening, but I'd just like to extend my wholehearted thanks to Jen, Barry, Steve, Carl, Bill, and Amanda for taking your time on a Saturday to come join us today. It means a lot to us as a town board. I think what we found out here, Ken, is that we have a lot of work to do in our comp plan and our vision going forward so we can embrace everything we talked about today. It's very important that we move that project forward. I don't have any questions at this time because I think the bulk of them have been answered. And I appreciate all those candid answers for sure. So thank you again so much. And I'm really, really excited about the great turnout we had. So under the digital bad weather that we're experiencing here, I think it all turned out successful. So thank you everybody again for coming today and talking with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we have participants. So I'd say on Saturday morning digital challenges, we did pretty good. And I'd really like to thank our audience for managing their microphones because these webinars could be chaotic beyond belief. And I think even with the problems we had early on, success. I really am very proud of the effort. I want to make sure that Jay Reichert, our other council person, had an opportunity to weigh in. Jay, if you're there, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Not to sound like a broken record, but thank you all for attending on this Saturday morning. Thank all of the citizens who also attended, especially the members of the committee who put this together. As been mentioned, we are in the midst of working on revising the zoning, the comprehensive plan if we need to support that, or I guess it's the other way around. We will be getting to public hearings on all of that over the next couple of months. But in the meantime, if there is a use that you think should or should not be part of your neighborhood, make sure you let me or one of the other members of the board know so we can get it into the mix. And remember, if it isn't in the zoning, it isn't allowed. So if you want it, we got to put it there. And I'll shut up now. Thank you.
Well, yeah, Jay, as you pointed out, we're in the middle of our zoning workshops. We've been working really hard through this COVID-19. As you can see by the bags under my eyes, we really have been working hard. So I'd like to turn the mic over to Deputy Supervisor Lindsay. We're almost done with our program. Deputy Supervisor.
Okay, thank you, Ken. And again, thank you all of our elected officials and our community members who joined us today. We have a lot to look forward to. I took a lot of notes while you were all speaking, highlighting the opportunities we can take advantage of now, even in these difficult financial times. So we will be moving forward with that. And we have a lot of community members here, and we welcome more community members to join us. So please do let us know if you want to join this effort. We're very excited about what we can do even now. We have a lot of real estate opportunities. As Steve was pointing out, there are restaurants looking for Orange County locations. We've got locations for them. So let's get talking and let's start marketing Tuxedo.
So turning the table literally. We're just about done at final comments. We look forward to inviting all of our elected officials back for a taste of Tuxedo, a walking tour of our farmers market and downtown businesses. And that's what we had hoped for when we were first planning this, but we made the best of this WebEx situation. Again, thanks to all the residents' participation, because we really do hope to be a government by the people, for the people, because without your input, we're just spinning our wheels. So I think that's about it. Thank you, Deputy Supervisor, to our members of the town board, and especially to the committee that really put this together and worked really hard. If people in the audience, you want to turn off your cameras and give us all a thumbs up for working hard together. This means thank you to our elected officials for participating. And, it's been beautiful weather, and I know where you can hike. It could be right here in Tuxedo. So our farmers market is open right now. So come on down, and we'll see you there. Thanks again. Be well, and let's prosper together.
Thank you, guys.
Great job, Tuxedo.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Excellent job, guys.
Thank you, guys.